Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling smaller? Like nothing dramatic happened. No one yelled. No one said anything hurtful. But somehow, you just feel worse about yourself than you did before you started talking to them. Maybe you've tried to explain this feeling to someone else, but you couldn't. How do you even explain it? They were too nice to me. They smiled too much. You can't, can you? So, you let it go. And you start to wonder, am I just being oversensitive? Here's what I want you to know today. You're not. What you're picking up on has a name. It's called contempt, and it's one of the most psychologically damaging things one person can do to another. Why? Because it almost never looks like anything at all. Not like anger. Not like cruelty. Contempt is quiet. It looks like a half smile, a slight pause before they respond. The way they look just past your shoulder instead of at your eyes. It's subtle, it's quiet, and it's intentional. Now, most people, when they hear the word contempt, they think of something dramatic. Eye rolls, talking down to someone in front of a crowd. Yes, that's contempt too, but that's the loud version. What we're talking about today is the quiet version. The kind that makes you feel crazy for even noticing it. And by the end of this video, you'll be able to name exactly what's been happening, and more importantly, you'll know what to do about it. So, let's dive in. But before we go through the signs of contempt, let's make sure we're all on the same page, because contempt often gets confused with a few other emotions. And knowing the difference is key. Contempt is not anger. When someone is angry at you, they're still invested. They care. Anger means they want something from you. An apology, a change, or maybe just an acknowledgement. Contempt, on the other hand, is different. Contempt is the belief that you are beneath them. Not that you did something wrong. Not that they're frustrated with you. No. They believe that who you are, your ideas, your feelings, your presence, just doesn't matter. Think about it like this. Anger says, you matter, and you let me down. Contempt says, you don't matter enough to let down. That's why it hurts in a way that's so difficult to explain. Because contempt isn't an attack, it's a dismissal. And dismissals are hard to defend against. There's a researcher named John Gottman, who spent about 40 years studying how people interact with each other. He watched thousands of couples in a lab, sometimes arguing, sometimes just chatting. He became so skilled at reading the dynamics that he could predict which relationships would fall apart with startling accuracy. And the single biggest thing he looked for: contempt. Not how often they fought. Not how loud the arguments got. He watched for the little moments, the tiny signals where one person communicated to the other without saying a word, I am above you. Here's the thing that struck me when I first learned about this. Couples who showed contempt toward each other didn't just have worse relationships, they were physically less healthy. More colds, more infections, more sick days. Why? Because when you're around someone who makes you feel like you don't matter, your body knows it. Your stress response kicks in, and over time, that takes a real toll. So, this isn't just about feelings, it's about your well-being. And these were romantic relationships Gottman studied. Imagine what it does when contempt comes from a coworker you spend 8 hours a day with. Or a friend you've known for years. Or a family member you can't just walk away from. Why don't we catch contempt sooner? Why do we spend months, sometimes years, around someone who makes us feel small without ever being able to put our finger on it? It's not because you're weak or naive. It's because your brain is actively working against you. Your brain has a built-in bias toward resolving discomfort quickly. When something feels off but you can't explain it, your brain doesn't sit with that uncertainty. It fills in the gaps. And it fills those gaps with the most comfortable explanation. So, when someone corrects you in front of a group, your brain says, they were just being honest. When they look past you during a conversation, your brain says, they were distracted. They're busy. When they respond to your good news with nothing, your brain says, maybe they're going through something. You're not being gullible, you're being human. This is called politeness bias. We're wired to interpret ambiguous behavior charitably, especially from people we respect. And contempt is almost always ambiguous. Let's talk about a concrete example. Imagine you're at dinner with a friend. You mention an exciting new idea, something you've been working on for weeks. They nod, take a sip, and say, yeah, I've seen people try that before. It's subtle, but it stings. What do you do with that? Nothing can be pointed to, but you leave that dinner feeling deflated. Your brain starts whispering, maybe the idea really isn't that good. Maybe I'm just not seeing it clearly. That's the loop contempt creates. And once it starts, it's hard to step out of. But here's what makes it worse. The more you care about someone, the harder it is to see clearly. There's something called cognitive dissonance. Your brain struggles to hold two conflicting ideas at once. You care about this person, but you also feel that they think you're beneath them. Your brain can't hold both of those ideas. So, it lets one go. And, almost always, it's not the one that protects you. Instead, you start doubting yourself. Maybe you're too sensitive. Maybe you did say something wrong. Maybe they're right, and you just can't see it. That loop is exactly what contempt relies on. It doesn't need to be obvious. It just needs to be consistent enough to make you question yourself instead of questioning them. Let's break down the signs. I'm going to walk you through 7 signs of contempt. Some of these will be obvious once I say them out loud. Others will make you think, oh, that's what that was. Sign number 1. They correct you in front of others, casually. You're telling a story, and suddenly, they say, well, actually, or, not exactly. They shift the focus from you to them. The correction isn't for your benefit. It's to establish publicly that they know more than you. Sign number 2. They don't look at you when you talk. Instead of facing you, they glance around the room, or look just past your shoulder. This tells you that, in that moment, your words aren't important. It's a subtle dismissal. If you call it out, it sounds petty. But your body knew it was happening. Sign number 3. They ask for your opinion and then ignore it completely. They nod, say, and then do what they were going to do anyway. You're not being heard. You're being performed. They just go through the motions of asking, but it's not a real conversation. Sign number 4. The joke that isn't really a joke. It's wrapped in humor, but you can feel the sting. Oh, that's so you, said in a tone that makes it clear they don't mean it kindly. You laugh along, but inside, you're absorbing the discomfort. The target is always you. Sign number 5. Your good news gets a flat response. When you share something exciting, and they say, oh, nice, or cool, with no follow-up questions. But when someone else shares good news, they suddenly light up. That enthusiasm gap tells you where you rank. Sign number 6. They help you in a way that makes you look smaller. Genuine help builds you up, quietly. But contemptuous help does the opposite. It announces itself. It needs an audience. And it frames you, even while helping you, as someone who needs to be helped. Sign number 7. The micro-expression you almost missed. There's a psychologist named Paul Ekman who studied something called micro-expressions. Tiny, involuntary facial movements that reveal what a person is really feeling. Contempt has a very specific micro-expression. One corner of the mouth pulls back slightly, just one side. It's not a smile. It's not a smirk. Just a flicker. That uneasy feeling you walked away with. Your brain caught that micro-expression